learned the waste management policies in EU, which is more of a law and it is the framework directive. But if you look at India, initial phase was after the Environmental Protection Act, which came in 1986. But the rules on waste management came only in 2003. We were not bothered only. So that also came only for the hazardous waste management and handling because of the deaths and because of the diseases and health implications. Somebody took the initiative and it happened. But if you look at the developmental phase between 2009 and 2011, post 2003, there has been a big development because law schools started involving in this. They didn't leave it to only scientists. So e-waste management and handling rules came in 2011. With that, we had other dimensions also. 2004 to 8, we had environmentally sound management of e-waste, and 2011, management and handling. So the draft phase resulted finally into proper rules in 2011. And second phase of development came between 2012 and 2016, which are more comprehensive rules on e-waste management. And then the implementation is very low. Like how many of you know what to do with your computer when you don't use it, the laptop? You may go give it back to, if it is Apple, sometimes Apple refuses to take it back. Then, or it may tell that I'll give you 5,000 rupees. So you may not feel like giving it back also. So at the individual level, as a lifestyle and practice to percolate, it has to be much more friendly and known to people. So the implementation phase from 2017 till date has e-waste management amendment rules, which went more elaborate. And then 2024, we had the liquid waste management rule coming into the fore. So that is the development phase. And then we had second set of rules or very recent rules in between the 2017 phase and now the plastic waste management rule. This is very interesting. It covers even packaging. So here we see clear influence of global best practices such as EU practices. So not only that, they also maintain statistics and monitor by centralized online portal, and environmental compensation is made possible. And then there is a committee and producers' responsibility certificates are extended. So more or less like the European one where the producer is made liable, and then even the packaging intermediary is made liable according to the latest rule. Please go on the website of the ministry and you will come across that. Now it is here that I want to give you a little glimpse of the latest provision, which is on, which I had here to read out for you. You can check it in this Indian Express article on, I'll read that for you. India's 2024 liquid waste management regulation. Now, there are certain challenges and opportunities in this liquid waste management rule. A lot needs to be done to see that sewage treatment becomes more efficient and manageable. And Environment Ministry's rules are welcome step regarding that. So what do they say? At least 20% of the water that you use should be recycled. And there should be proper STP, means sewage treatment plant we have in our college. So these rules were gazetted just recently on the 7th of October. So in this document, there are many mandates which are given regarding wastewater treatment, reuse and septage management across urban and rural areas, and it focuses on sustainability, compliance and accountability. A structured framework streamlining the treatment of this from municipal sources. See this: household, industries, public institutions and private establishments. They prioritize collection, treatment, reuse and disposal of both wastewater and associated sludge. So the legal grounding is found in our Environment Protection Act of 1986, and this way it wants to address India's growing wastewater crisis through structured, time-bound and enforceable measures. So what does the blueprint say? The blueprint is giving stakeholders a transition period of 1 year starting from this October. Means by 2025 October, these rules will be enforced. So initial reuse targets for bulk water consumers like industries, institutions, large housing society, very important, large housing society, 20% for 27-28 period, 50% by 2030-31. Do you think it's a good measure? You all must be either familiar as consumers of these housing societies or you must be living in one. Early compliance requirement is user responsibility, EUR, very key word, which mandates that they must ensure proper treatment and reuse of their wastewater. And rigorous compliance framework for regular reporting, monitoring of wastewater treatment at different levels. So they have the reporting must be done by individual agencies on treatment volume, reuse outcomes, sludge management to the State Pollution Control Board, and then uploaded on a centralized online portal. So they'll make it accountable. If they don't go and inspect, they don't take and report, they don't document, then their accountability can be fixed. Larger cities may find it easier to comply because of the existing resources, but smaller towns and rural areas may struggle because people build flats. They say a smaller flat, some 12 flats, no idea of rainwater harvesting, solar panels. I am living in a society where STP, rainwater harvesting, gas, everything is there. But the interesting part is they do not have a solar panel fixed. I've been asking, I'm here for last 12 years and I've been asking and they just ignore. So one of the consumers I saw, one of the dwellers, they have put solar panel in their balcony. So some of the walls and balconies have been used by them. So I was thinking individually it becomes very expensive. But as a society, when they take up, it works out very cheap. So the timelines are very aggressive and it may not be reasonable because there's a disparity between big towns and smaller towns and rural areas. The necessary infrastructure and readiness may be a challenge. The portal is a good idea. So sewage sludge, sewage water, and for that financial and structural support is also given. Now, there are certain inconsistencies as impediments. What are they? One is that we already have certain new rules which may conflict. For example, Swachh Bharat Mission. It says cities with population under 1 lakh must reuse at least 20% of their treated wastewater as much as feasible. Atal Mission Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, which is Amrut, it aims for cities to recycle 20% of their total water demand and 40% of industrial water demand through treated wastewater. National Mission for Clean Ganga sets higher target for states where sewage treatment plants are operational, requiring 50% reuse by 2025, 100% by 2050. And these are not yet operational. You set the target without creating a proper wherewithal. The targets are 30% if they are not operational. So all these frameworks are very, very welcome step and they are very interesting. But then the responsibility is on the pollution control boards of the state and the central government. How do you ensure public engagement? Exactly the same thing. Educating the public and then educating communities. And then there is also a need for looking at the capacity and seeing what kind of variation, what kind of communication channels will be there. That's what they are saying. So what will be the future perspective of waste management strategy in India? When is waste valorization? How do you valorize the waste by green processing technology? We have now flow technology, pyrolysis, solid state fermentation, microbial digestion. So now plastic also has found a solution and there are a lot of microbes which are discovered and being developed also by genetic technology. Liquid waste management rule I told you about and I gave you the key provisions of that. Now pyrolysis technology in a big scale can collect plastic, put them in a furnace and melt them, and that melted product is nothing but a fuel. So it is not just disposing plastic but also recycling it into a useful product like fuel substitute. It can be 100% on its own, like the biofuel, it can be 5 to 20%. So we had an industrialist visit us. He told me how he's running a big enterprise of 500 crores. So this enterprise came much before this whole idea of Paris Agreement. So we can have, but the problem is you don't prevent plastic and you have pyrolysis. It is like you can't tackle one part of the tree. You have to feed the root of the tree. You go to the root cause, which is consumption, which is availability of plastic. So for 1 year, Maharashtra state banned plastic, but the pressure of the industry and the uproar made that ban to be disrespected and withdrawn. Now, from this waste valorization approach, green processing technology, the fuels like I gave you, the bioalcohol comes from the waste in the sugar factory, the molasses. That's why the sugar factories are flourishing now. Then syngas or biogas, synthetic gas or biogas, biofuels from pyrolysis oil, as I told you, from the plastic. And high value chemicals also can come, organic acid, essential value, essential oil, bioplastics can also come from waste. The neem oil, these are all actually from the waste, the leaves which fall. In ancient times, that's how they use. Now we pluck the leaves. So finally, it is about environmental protection and sustainability. So that's how I would like to conclude. We started with the mitigation strategy and adaptation strategy with the energy, and then in terms of defining the waste, and then looking at the regimes both in EU and India, and finally looking at waste valorization as the waste management strategy.